Welcome back to What's So Funny, where I interview comedians on everything comedy. Today I'm talking to Sebastian Martinez about comedy, improv, tech, and everything in between. All right, well, hi, Sebastian.
Hello, Ryan.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, fine and dandy.
Great.
How are you?
Great. I'm doing good today. I'm very excited to have you here.
I was very excited when you asked me to do it. I was like, oh my God, an hour to talk with Ryan just about comedy and general life. I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah. I am such a nerd of comedy and I just like talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, same. Especially where it's like, not even just like comedy itself in terms of the like getting into like structure or like beats if we're talking like improv now, but more so just like I think where we were talking about before we started recording, it's just like people's journeys and people's like inspirations and really digging in why people do like I love chatting about that stuff.
Yeah. And on that note, you are an improviser, you are an actor, you're a comedian in general. How did you start doing that?
Yeah. It's such a weird turn of events. Like, I mean, I got into entertainment really, it starts when I was like 7 in terms of like, and I wouldn't go back there in terms of just like drama club or like little shows and stuff. But like at 7, I had like a YouTube channel, with my family where my brother and I would go and interview like young celebrities. And so we did that for about 7 years. So we had like interviewed people like Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez.
No way.
The Naked Brothers band. So we were like, we did that for like 7 years. Like originally, like the first interview was like with the Naked Brothers band. And because they were in our town doing like an album release, and we like staked out in the back of the Walmart in our town where they were doing the signing to try and get in to get an interview with them, and it worked out. They gave us like 5 minutes and we like talked to them and they were so nice, and that led to like good relationships with like different people's teams and inviting us to come to like, for example, like the Camp Rock 2 premiere. So we were like there interviewing.
Brag.
Yeah, I'm a brag. But I bring that all up because, so we do that leads us into getting into acting and like, being child actors, my brother and I. And so that's like a lot of auditioning and, like getting like small roles like on like TV shows or like some independent movies. And I think by the time I hit high school, that's where I started, where things start like in high school. I don't know why in high school now, like you are struggling immediately. Like what is my life going to be? Like who am I going to be? Because my high school had majors, especially like it was really weird.
Oh, okay.
We had majors. So I was a audio visual production major, but also double majoring in drama.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Of
so
course.
Like two of like
as a 14-year-old.
I'm like double majoring already, which is ridiculous. But yeah, like 2 of our classes would be like drama class. Like it was put into our schedule alongside like the core classes, obviously. But like that's where I met a bunch of like my really good best friends where, who like loved comedy, loved sketch comedy. And, one of my biggest inspirations, I'll probably get into it later, is like Donald Glover. And so getting into his sketch of like Derek Comedy and like his stand-up special, that was like super influential. And I joined the stand-up comedy club at my high school. We, for the drama majors, we had like an improv night to like fundraise for our show. And so that's where it's like the seeds were planted. And so I think senior year, that same group of friends and I, we did our own version of SNL called FNL. And we like wrote all the sketches, cast our friends, like had our friends who were like musically talented do musical performances, like all the shebang. And so that carried into college. So I went to school at NYU and did improv there, ran one of my sketch groups there, and I just became a fiend for it because obviously I'm in New York and you have all these theaters here, and I started getting obsessed with that as well and taking classes and the dynamics that fall into that. So now we've been at it for about how many years ago did I graduate? 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. Now there's just, so much that's obviously happened since then in terms of like, just like, cool stuff of being able to perform consistently, producing my own stuff. But that's how I really got into it. Yeah. That's
really cool. First of all, I didn't know you were from California. Me too.
I'm not from California.
What? Where are you from?
Wait, which part of the story did it seem like California?
Because you were saying you were interviewing Ariana Grande and like going to and like doing child acting and stuff.
I can see where that.
Where are you from?
So I'm from Jersey.
Oh,
so that was all going down in Jersey.
Oh my God, cool.
So the Naked Brothers thing, the Walmart was in. Yeah, they were doing a signing in Jersey. I don't know why. I was like, but cool, man. Like they had a lot of people there, obviously, but we were. Like 15 minutes out from New York. Okay. So that's where, obviously, when all those premieres would happen,
gotcha.
We take that drive in. So it was, and I mean, like, that throws another, like, needing to know early on that we really wanted to do, or got that experience early on, because it's like, it's treacherous because we had to leave school early a lot of these times to do all of that. But yeah. Jersey, New York.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were from California, but that's cool. Yeah.
It's interesting hearing you talk about it, and I don't know if it's because you've grown up so closely to New York, because I feel overwhelmed with everything most of the time, and I feel like you are seeing it more, which I appreciate, seeing it as like there's so many opportunities out there.
Yeah. I mean, even then, viewing it as like so many opportunities, I feel like it's also overwhelming, right? It's so overwhelming because it's like there's so many pathways to go about any of this. I mean, like, all those times, like, in high school, I gotta channel that energy again. Is like, I was like, oh, I'm excited about this thing, and so I put all my energy into that. Even in high school, if I'm doing it with my friends, it's like, oh, we're excited, we're putting up our own version of a sketch show. Like, this is insane. This is so much fun. Like, the world's our oyster. Versus now, I feel like now it's really opened up. Obviously we're in this scene together, seeing so many people choose so many different avenues, whether that's like recording 1,000 reels in one day and having this backlog of 1,000 reels of doing just character bits and all of that, versus like somebody on Herald Night at UCB, or somebody running a sketch show out of another theater, or a variety show in a basement in the Village. Like there's so many different opportunities that it is overwhelming of like, because sometimes you immediately, at least for me, jump into like, what's the right way?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that was something I remember with learning act, or like going to school for theater. And I feel like there were a lot of, my last year was a lot of the business of it, which meant that we were talking to like a lot of agents and stuff. And I felt like that ended up kind of, they talked a lot about the right way. So I felt like I had to like almost unlearn that.
Oh, yeah.
Because that doesn't really exist, especially with like you were saying YouTube or shorts or all of these different ways. Like there's different audiences and there's different avenues you can go down.
Completely. I feel like, while I obviously loved my time at my alma mater at NYU, but like it's very much instilled. I was just talking about this with a friend earlier today, just talking about like, I feel like all these classes, right, like in terms of performing arts classes, feel like here's how it's structured, is like, okay, here's the structure of how to do this thing, and immediately, I mean, at least for me, whether it be like a screenwriting class, I'd be like, okay, so that means I just have to nail the structure and I'll be good.
Yeah.
I just got to nail structure and I'll be fine. And it could not be more like wrong. Like it's like, and I've known it for a while. I'm terrible at taking my own advice, but it's like you're taught structure in order to learn how to like break it later.
Right.
And that applies to, obviously that I'm talking about screenwriting there, but that applies to like comedy and doing any of this. It's like there is no one way. So many people have many different pathways of how they broke in, or how they went viral, or how they got famous through all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a show at UCB called Theater, the Improvised Play.
Correct. Yes.
Look it up.
Yes, please.
tell me about that and like where that came from and just kind of the evolution of that.
Yeah, we started that show. I mean, I started that show back in, oh my God, what are we in? We're in 2025. July 2024, I believe it is. That came, honestly, I mean, and I'm being completely honest, that came from like, I think the UCB theater had just opened like 2 months like prior.
Right.
And I was like, I need to get a show up on that stage. Like I had like a need of like, I need to be a part of that. Like I need to be a part of this like large legacy. Like I want to be able to put like a show up. And so I was, I forget, like I saw like a previous show somewhere that like they were doing like I think an improvised movie, and they picked like one element of an improvised movie or going to the movies, just put in the front, the improvised movie. And I was like, okay, what about an improvised play? And I'm like, okay, what's the one word that we can put? Theater. And it all just came from like, you know, not the best place to conceive an idea in terms of like just wanting to like produce something, but now it's turned into like something of its own where it's like, you know, I had to create a structure for the show of like what an improvised play would look like, because the whole point of improv obviously is like no narrative, don't follow narrative, like follow character, like just follow, or in UCB's deal, like follow game, follow all of that. And so I had to create like a structure of like, okay, we're gonna do like a string of mono scenes, like and everybody plays one character. The original idea was to like have everybody be as dramatic as possible and no one was allowed to laugh, but that became like way too difficult because it's obviously if you tell somebody to not be funny, they'll end up being funny. So it starts off there, and then I mean, as the months went on, I mean, like after the first show, they were like, you want to do a second show? And we were like, oh my God. I was treating it as if we had like one show. So I brought on my like, our first, the idea was to like, oh, this is a way that I can like play with like UCB legends or people that are like really cool. I can find a way to get them on the show. But then like I took a second, I was like, how badly do I want to do that in terms of like, I have an opportunity to put up a show, like could this not also be an opportunity that I can open a window for my friends as well? And so I chose that approach instead. And that proved to be the most like beneficial route in terms of like, oh yeah, like not even in terms of just like paying it forward type thing, but also just like, I love performing with my friends. I'm the most comfortable when I'm performing with my friends. So we did one show, and then that carried over into obviously another show. And then it's started building out. And then by October of that same year, we're like, we should bring on a special guest, like see what that does. So we brought on Chloe Trost, who she was a cast member on SNL for a while, and she had gone to NYU also. So I briefly like knew her from going to NYU at the same time. I think she was like a senior when I was like a freshman. So I knew her from then, and that became a lot of fun too, because there was like 7 of us who really knew the structure, who understood how it should go, and we have this like one incredible performer that can just slide right in. And so it worked perfectly, and that drew in a big audience. And that became like a kind of like the style of the show now, where it's like we, you know, every so often we'll get like a special guest onto the show. I mean, we've had so many different people on. We had like Kira O'Sullivan and Jimmy Falley, who are writers at SNL right now. We've had, oh my God, Jacqueline Uwe, who used to be on Smosh and was on the Second City main stage. We had Casey Jost about like 2 months ago. We had, oh my God, I'm like thinking of all these. I'm definitely blanking. Carl Tart, who's also a writer on SNL. Like so many wonderful people that have like come and like done the show. And one of the biggest highlights so far of doing this show, like the summer of 2025, we did like a mini tour in terms of like, we had our 1-year show to celebrate, which was amazing. But then we got to fly out to Chicago to put up the show at the I.O. for their festival.
Cool.
And then this, I think, might be the biggest highlight of my whole like improv career, was putting it up at the UCB in LA. Cool. And we had like a couple special guests from like like Dropout, like Lily Dew and Anna Garcia, and then one incredible person on Herald Night over there, Jack Brown, and we like just like packed the audience. It was like the biggest audience I think we've ever had for that show, and something just felt so amazing. Like it took me a second, because that would be a dream to like put up a show at the UCB in LA, like, but it had to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
And so obviously when I pitched that show originally, little did I think that it would end up at that that goal that I had to put up a show out there. So now I mean, like we're closing in on 2 years now. And it's been a lot of fun. It's really great. For a while we were doing like special guests every month, and now we're up to a point of like, okay, like what if we just like no special guests and we just got the group back together. But that's been a lot of fun. Yeah. It's definitely been like a highlight for me putting that show together.
Yeah, that is really cool. And when I saw it, you had the Casey Jost as a guest.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see you had the people who knew the show, and it felt like a very welcoming environment for guests to just kind of slot themselves in and still kind of shine within that structure that everyone else kind of creates around them, which I thought was really cool about it.
What we really wanted to do, especially for special guests, is like to be able to easily slot in, because there's a lot of moving parts in terms of like it's so weird because it's a battle of like avoiding narrative, but there has to be a slight narrative. But we want special guests to be able to like just slot in, and like the rest of us cast to be able to like to take on that like slight burden to be like, okay, like we know what we should discover in this scene of like, if we're in the second scene, like, okay, we have to discover the villain. We know we have to discover the villain. But if the special guest wants to send it one way, like we'll guide it. We'll guide like the railings type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Something else, and I just wanted to shout this out, is your tech person is so much of like a character in the show.
Oh yeah.
Which was just so fun. Like and how quick they were as an improviser with
that's a shout out to Anna Phillips, who like that's been a recent addition in terms of, I mean, early on, we've always known, like, we would work with a director. We would have a director in the booth working with the tech. Their name was Nicola Sava, who, like, still frequently, like, comes into the show. But now a lot of the time, the show falls on the night that, like, she's teaching. So we haven't been able to, like, get her back. But, like, usually it'd be much more stripped down in terms of, like, the lighting. Like one fun thing about theater is like if the director wants someone to monologue, we'll like spotlight them and they have to get into it. So it would go to that element, or like just like slight ambiance in the background of like waves crashing if we were at like a beach. But now it's turned into this fun thing, as you saw with Anna, now that it's like sometimes throwing curveballs at us of like music cues or like a sound effect. And it's like that also brings that joyous element out of like, how are we going to react? How are we going to like take this on, in addition to the spotlights and the fun lights? Because like I feel like that's such a huge element that not a lot of shows use. Yeah. You know, where it's like the tech can play along. Like, why not curate like a whole experience? Hence why, you know, as we'll probably talk about later, is like why we have like ushers on the show also. Yeah.
No, I mean, you can talk about that now if you want. I mean, like because that's another cool element of it. And again, bringing new people in and kind of what I love of like using that platform to like promote other people as well. Yeah. With your ushers.
Yeah. And to give context on that, like in addition to it being an improv show, like we have to curate the experience of like going to like a play, like, because that's the whole element we want to like marry. That is we get like character performers that we love, or character performers that I love that are in our community, to come on as ushers of the show. And what we do is like they'll hand out playbills to the show with tonight's cast on it. They'll give opening night announcements, and then at intermission they'll do a bit of sorts that's in the realm of being an usher for the show. So we've just it's been another way to access like our other buddies that, you know, that love the show, that we love them, and how we can bring them on as well. Yeah.
talking about tech, so we met because you've often done the tech for the other sketch show I'm a part of. Duh.
Yes.
I'm kind of curious, as someone who does a lot of tech, like what are kind of the experiences that you've learned from doing tech in comedy?
Yeah. That's a really good question. On an improv side, because I started teching for comedy shows mainly on the improv end at first before getting into the sketch end, and it just taught me a lot about, oh my god, just like, I mean, like, first off, it's like access to be able to watch other shows, which is like such a crucial part, as they tell you in any improv class or coaching side. It's just like watching other teams, so being able to watch has, like, I've learned a lot. I want to say one thing that just comes to mind, and it's small, but it's like a good blackout, like a good blackout line, because it's like often as a tech, it's for teching for an improv show or an improv set, it's your job to be the one to call the blackout or to keep track of everything, not the host. So that's been really cool to see, like, on a time limit, like if you're given like 13 to 15 minutes or 23 to 25 minutes, is the difference in how the energy that you come out with a set in that curated time, and how you can quickly get to a good blackout button, or like kind of like put like a bow on your set, has been really cool. And especially, you know, that's the one small element, but also this is where I discovered my love early on about integrating tech more into like theater. I have a buddy, Jack Dominic, he's a tech at Second City and UCB, and he would often tech for one of my old improv teams, and he's just taught me a lot about, like, how do I say, it's like how much tech can play like a huge part into like the improvising also. And so that's why I got comfortable asking with improv teams that I would tech for, is like, oh, do you want me to just like lights up, lights down? Do you want me to offer some dynamic lighting? Do you want me to play along? And all these teams get like really surprised. A lot of the time they're like, no, just straightforward, like we're learning. But other teams are like, yeah, let's experiment. And so it becomes like a lot of fun in a tech setting as well, of experimenting, like, oh, like to make this experience more theatrical, cinematic, like adding this layer to improv that isn't really done as often. And not trying to be, obviously, like scaling it back to a point that's like the tech isn't the star of the show, but more so like you are decorating what the improvisers are doing first and foremost. And so that's been really cool. I tech for this one musical improv team every so often, and they always want like the most tech possible in terms of like go wild. So like we'll do like a disco ball, we'll do all this lighting, and we've created like a working relationship now that it's like, okay, anytime that it's straightforward scene work, we're on a full wash. But as soon as like the songs kick in, now we're playing colors, now we're having fun, and they've loved that since. Like audience members have been enjoying it, so it's been another element of like, like playing along, of just like cues, or like what a line is setting up, or just like entrances and exits. Like it's a lot of like learning as an audience member, but also like learning as a player. And having to be like, again, as a player, just being very forward thinking too, to be able to create that and be kind of on the same team with people who you're not necessarily communicating with the same way. Oh, like 1,000%. I think that's what I love also, especially in those musical improv settings, where it's like you're almost getting the same exact experience as being on stage, where it's like, if I mess up a lighting cue, where it's like, oh, I didn't want it to go into that color, or if like, oh, I didn't mean to solo that side, like no one really knows it's a mistake if you don't like say it's a mistake. Or like it's the same way like on stage, if you're in a scene and you say something and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, oh, I didn't mean to, like this blah blah blah, it's like, well, no one's gonna know that like you messed up if you don't like show it almost. Like that's the beauty of the improv, is like the mistakes are gonna be the most beautiful things. So it's like that it's taught me getting comfortable with that as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Which honestly, that would be a great bit to like the lights turn blue and you just hear from the tech box, whoops.
I'm so sorry about that. I didn't mean, ignore that. Can you go back? Yeah. Exactly.
I do. It's such a cool thing though, just talking about tech. And I think especially in like improv, but also in sketch, sometimes as an audience member, it almost feels like they go into like 3-dimensional chess, and like there's like there's a new element that you wouldn't necessarily think of that they're making into part of the show. Yes. And I think sometimes with Duh, we're trying to do that a bit more of like, we've given you lines before to like, that, like we're communicating with you.
That's been so much fun.
Yeah. Or just like different ways to go at it that the audience isn't necessarily expecting, that feels a bit more inventive and kind of breaks up just kind of the normal, just like people talking in a scene.
Oh yeah. And it's so cool because I mean, I compare it even to how we take in like sound design or music composition in like movies and shows, where it's like, or even editing, that it's like, it's so good, or like I shouldn't say it's so good. Like the sign of a good like editor or like sound designer, any of that is like, you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
Like you just stay immersed. And it's like the second, and that's how I feel, especially when I'm like techie. I'm like, I don't want people like turning around or like that's not why I'm doing it, right? Yeah. Like I'm not doing it like to like flex, right? Yeah. Like, you know, if I wanted that feeling, like I would go do a show instead. It's like, no, it's like the best part of it is helping that experience like stay insular, like you know, that they are enjoying, like if we're taking the musical improv in particular, like that's just like, it's one experience, like they're enjoying the show, not necessarily like, but that deck is kicking butt, like I don't know, I wouldn't have done that. Or even like in a sketch show setting, that it's like it's in particular Duh, that it's like it's y'all's show that's like killing it. It's y'all's writing, like this is what you guys curated. It's not necessarily one element that's like standing out, like this tech element. It's like the show itself. Is the sketch hitting? Is all the elements like hitting? Like that's why we're like focused on it. You know?
Exactly. I have a question. This might kind of become just a regular question that I ask people, just because I love it. Do you remember kind of the first big laugh that you ever got?
Oh man. When you say biggest laugh I ever got, like in terms of like I laughed or like somebody laughed at me? Like
somebody, I mean, it can be either. I'm always thinking of like the first time someone laughed at you. You're like, oh, I just told a joke kind of thing.
Oh, yes. Okay. I mean, what immediately comes to mind is my first time doing stand-up in high school. I think, because like when we would do like these interviews for the YouTube channel, like growing up, like we were doing a lot of bits, like opening bits, like before we got to the interview, but there was like no audience. So it's like, I don't know if any of that was hitting. I was just like, you know, this is part of the interview. So, and I was a kid. So, you know, like, you know, some of these celebrities would like laugh along and stuff, but like that wasn't anything I was taking. I was like, well, I'm a funny 8-year-old. Like I didn't know that, you know? But I think stand up in high school was the first time that I was like, that I was realizing in terms of like purposefully making comedy and like taking that on, was doing stand up. And what was my first? I was writing stand up with my dad for this, which is like, because I didn't really understand it. Like at the time, like, you know, I'm they're gonna know what's like perfect, what's like I don't know. But like when I would be co-writing it with my like dad and then like performing it, and we're talking about, and it's like material just like about like being Latino and like being like talking about my family or even like fake family members, because we got in our head this was like a lot of materials like fake, a lot of like I always think about stand-ups where it's just like, yeah, the other day I was taking a walk, and it's obviously never happened, but I think we really took it to heart. So we I think it was like I was talking about like a fake uncle like a Uncle Domingo or something like that, and like it just hit for these audiences of like sophomores and juniors. They're like, oh my god, like
this guy gets
it, and they're not even like Latino either. I'm just like, all right, he gets it. I'm like, okay, but it was like, I think that was the first time that because like even then at that time in high school, like in that stand-up club, like you can't make the jokes that you can do now, where it's like high school is really limited, as they should be, obviously, of just like, no, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about this, but like when I would like tread the line lightly of whatever that looks like in high school, people are like, oh my, like that's so funny.
So skipping school's a little crazy.
Like, oh, he talked about the security guard at school. Oh my god, the gall on this guy. Like, but that, to wrap it back around, I think that experience, that was like the first time that was like, oh, okay, I'm kind of funny. Like, I think, okay, like, I don't know if I'm fully funny, but I obviously some of the stuff that I said was like good, so this seems very validating. Yeah.
I also, just going back to you've talked about like YouTube a lot, and that I feel like that was a big part of. That was like the main, it wasn't like social media yet, but I feel like that was the main thing where you were like, God, I'm going to become famous on YouTube.
Right.
As this 8-year-old, I'm going to go viral with my hilarious video. Like, it was very like, it felt very accessible at that time, which I'm sure like now, like with TikTok and stuff, people still feel that. But I remember YouTube with like Annoying Orange.
Oh yeah,
and like Fred.
Yeah.
The height of comedy.
Yeah, the height. We've gone downhill since. No, like it came up at a time when we did that YouTube channel. Like, I wasn't thinking anything of this. This was an idea like my parents had curated, and they were just like, oh, they thought, because like my brother and I were just like very like energetic, very rapid, and like, you know, being very performative as 7 and 3-year-olds are, that they were like, let's try this out, like let's see what it does. And then we just ended up like falling in love with it. And this was at a time when I think iCarly had just premiered. It had just premiered, and there wasn't like, it wasn't to this extent as it's gone into now, where it's like influencers being on carpets now, and, you know, a lot of kids like being able to like meet celebrities, or like I see a lot of like kid interviewers now on Reels, on TikToks. And at the time, like, I'm not saying I was ahead of the game, but like, you know, but like I look back at it now and I was like, wow, okay, like we were really doing it at a time that like it just was, nobody else was doing it. And I mean, like, a lot of the clips still, it got a really good following, and like a lot, like the YouTube channel's still up. It used to be for our website, which had a lot of like traffic and whatnot, but like we keep the YouTube channel up, and like it's got like lots and lots of views, and a lot of the clips now go viral on like TikTok and like Instagram, which is like so weird and interesting, because it's like I'm not putting it up. It's like other fan accounts of like of Ariana Grande, of Selena Gomez posting it and being like, remember this? Like, in particular, like one Ariana Grande clip keeps going viral where like I ask her like if she has any younger sisters. Like, it's just like little like 9-year-old, like, you have any younger sisters? And she's like, are you calling me old? And that just like goes viral like crazy today. I forget what like caused this whole thing, but just like in terms of the timing of like when we did all of that is like, it's super interesting to look back at it now and see what you like in terms of what YouTube is now, or like what interviewing is now, that I'm like, wow, like that it's completely different. Landscape's completely different. Yeah,
definitely.
I sound like a historian. Like, which sounds weird.
Yes, in the olden days.
In the olden days, we used to just post the videos.
Yes, we would bang on our rocks and announce it. Hear ye, to the world.
Exactly.
All right. So I have some questions that I ask every person who's here, just to come up to the consensus of comedy, so that we can all be incredible comedians from it.
Yeah.
So first of all, what made you laugh growing up?
I mean, immediately, the first things that come to mind, was all those Nickelodeon and Disney shows that we all consumed. Like, Zack and Cody, Drake and Josh, Wizards of Waverly Place, Hannah Montana. Like, all those classic shows were making me laugh. Victorious. I'm definitely missing, like, a bunch of shows in that fold. But those were the ones that were, like, pinnacle for me, where it was like, these are so funny. Like, it's like a lot of it's like sketch-ish humor also, that was making me laugh. SpongeBob classic, of course.
Absolutely.
That was, consuming all of that. It's so funny. Those were the huge things that were making me laugh, next to I want to say, like, I would watch a lot of, I don't want to call them like B-list, but like those, like, during the time of like when a comedy movie would come out every single week. Like, I'm talking like like when Jared Butler and Jennifer Aniston did like The Bounty Hunter, right?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Like Due Date, or oh my God, Get Smart remake with Steve Carell. Like, all those movies, like, I was watching it with my family, obviously. But those were all the ones making me laugh. I'm like, this is like this is amazing. This was making me laugh. Like, how could they write such a thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were definitely the things. Yeah.
What is making you laugh right now?
I just watched Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Yes, I just heard about this.
Insane, incredible. I don't know how much you know about.
Very little.
It's insane. It used to be like a show on Vice, but before that, it used to be a web series. It's like them trying to book this venue, and they accidentally get sent back in time to 2008, and they like use unused footage that they recorded during the making of their web series, and like use it in the movie, and find a way to like, they talk to themselves like through the unused footage, and it was just it's just mind blowing. And that is making me laugh so much, because I'm such a huge, as the most unoriginal thing said ever, like, I'm a huge fan of The Office, of like mockumentaries and stuff, and it's very much in the tail of like a mockumentary style thing. Like, they acknowledge like their friend that's like recording it, and the humor is just so, like, it's so funny. It's a lot of dark humor, but it comes back. This is what I always find inspirational. I'm so scared about doing dark humor a lot of the time. Sometimes, like, ever so rarely do I do it, and every single time that I do it, like, it works, but I'm just too afraid of saying the wrong thing, and then that's it. I just like stay away from it. But it's been a masterclass to see, because now I'm watching the show, but after watching the movie, a masterclass of like dark humor, but not making fun of the dark thing, but like using it as a tool to make fun of something else.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
That's just been like a whole like I don't know, revelation almost, of just like watching these guys be able to like make these jokes, but again, not poking fun at the thing, but like using it as a tool to talk about something else. And it's just been so cool. That's been making me laugh so much. I think that's the main thing right now. Yeah. If anything, like that, that's been making me, because I'll watch a lot of comedy today, in terms of like, if we're talking like TV, movies, that in particular, I'm like more focused on the life lesson, and I'm like just feeling happy about it like afterwards. But I think in terms of gut laughing, Nirvana, the band, the show.
Are you a big movie goer to like the cinema?
Oh, big time. I got my A-list subscription and everything.
I just got one.
Oh, it's so worth it.
I joined the cult. Yeah.
It's so good. I like my girlfriend and I make it like the most accessible like date night for us. Like, we go like 2 or 3 times like a month. Last night we just went to, the first time we didn't use my A-list, but we went to the premiere of The Bride, the Jesse Buckley, Christian Bale movie. A wild ride. It's an awesome reimagining. This is all a plug for it, but yeah.
Yeah, this episode is sponsored by The Bride. Go see
Here
it.
comes, the motherfucking bride. Yeah.
Jesse Buckley and someone else. I don't remember who else is in it.
Christian Bale. Annette Bening is in it.
No way.
It's crazy. Right from the get-go, it's like something that like I was like, I can't believe they're doing this. Like, what? Like, this is like, this doesn't go by the text at all. Like, but it's really good. I think we're seeing Wuthering Heights on Friday. I haven't seen that yet, but I hear it's very divisive.
Yeah.
Very divisive.
Yeah.
So I'm going into it with arms crossed and just like, we'll see.
I've refused. I've refused to see it.
You refuse to see it?
I refuse to see it.
Is it because like do you like really like the book, or is it like
No, the stuff that I've heard about it, I was just like, I don't know if I'd have fun.
See, that's the thing that I'm worried about going into. I'm like, am I gonna have fun? Because it's like, again, divisive films do excite me in that like, I don't know how I'm gonna come out of it. Like maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. But then it's like when it ends up being the latter of not liking it, then it becomes a harrowing experience. I'm just like,
I am always down for a bad movie if it's a fun experience. I love seeing a terrible movie. That is some of the hardest I've ever laughed in movie theaters.
It feels bad even to say. I'm not going to say the specific movie, but like it was before I got A-list, and I remember going to a movie probably in like 2022, and it was like a superhero movie, quote unquote. That's all I'll give. And it was like the worst movie I ever saw. But I bought, for some reason, I knew I was going to go into it, and I knew it was going to be the worst movie I was ever going to see, just because of everything leading up to it. Use context clues on what I'm talking about. You can gather it easily. Yep. And I was like, I'm going to buy IMAX tickets for it. I'm going to go get this experience right.
I'm going to get the 3D glasses.
Yeah, I'm going to get the full thing. And I laughed so hard at that movie, just because I wanted to believe it was a parody. But it's like, those are the best, like, like you said, best movies where it's just like a really bad movie, and it's like a parody of some, like you feel like it's a parody, but it's not. It's like it's trying to be earnest, and it's not doing that.
This is full tangent now. One of my favorite movie experiences was when Cats came out.
Halle Berry.
And I went with my friends.
Wait, no, that's not Cats.
What?
What's wrong? I'm thinking Catwoman, which also famously was like a worst movie thing, and Halle Berry won an award for. Cats, Taylor Swift,
Cats the musical.
James Corden.
Yes.
I'm with you now.
And my friends and I, we drew on cat whiskers. We went to see it, and someone in the audience called an attendant on us because we were laughing too much.
So someone was genuinely probably enjoying it.
Yeah.
Someone was like, this is a work of art, and people are laughing, and it's like, we're watching a cat get murdered right now. I don't know what Cats is about, but I'm imagining someone dies, right?
It's possibly. It's a metaphor.
Okay. Well, clearly to that person, that metaphor was hitting.
Important.
Yeah.
It was important. And I understand. And finally, and most importantly, what is the secret to comedy?
Oh, God. The secret to comedy?
Yes, and your answer will define generations.
I almost don't want... Yeah, I was going to ask for context of like, do you mean it in performing sense? Do you mean it in this sense? But I'm almost like, no, I think it's better if I don't know. I think it's self-confidence. I genuinely believe it's... Because... It's so easy, and I have yet to meet one person in this community who hasn't had a battle with their own self-esteem, worth, or confidence in their performance at least once in their career. Because so much of it, to boil it down, so much of it harbors on laughs. You get no laugh, you're bad, is what your brain says immediately. Yeah. Like, it's just like, okay, audience no laugh, which means me no good. And it's like, no, because that's why we invented the term now, bombing, because every comedian bombs, or it's so much of it is throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. And the thing is, even the most famous people, or the people that I look up to, again, like we talked about before, like, I brought it briefly, like Donald Glover, has had so many things like that they've thrown against the wall that have either gotten I mean, in particular, like, we'll take it to the biggest level of like shows that they've pitched, movies that they've pitched, but it's been canceled. It doesn't work, or it doesn't go. It's like, that's what our whole life is going to be, especially if you want a career in comedy. It's throwing stuff against the wall, sending out so many ideas, working on one thing, after finishing that, working on the next thing. It's nonstop, but you almost need to, and this brings me back to what I said, which is having the confidence in yourself and knowing, like, reminding yourself that you are good, that you're doing this for a purpose, and that you're enjoying it. And it's so easy to lose track of so many of those things when something bad happens while you're doing any of that, whether that's like you're not cast on something, or your sketch didn't go well, or you had a bad improv performance. It hurts you. It hurts you. It hurts your self-worth, and it makes you question if you have a career in this. But I think that the true secret to comedy, in terms of just having fun and being able to enjoy it to its max, really comes back to self-confidence and understanding your self-worth. And how do we achieve all of that? By also having a life outside comedy. And that has been, I think I discovered that part a couple of years ago, because it's so easy to just jump down and be like, classes all over the place, shows, I'm going to take it all on. But it's like, you do need a break from stuff for your own mental health, and realize comedy is like one part of life. There's so many other things that are involved, like going out on dates, like seeing your family, talking to your family, like going on trips, like going to a museum to just like look at art, playing video games, binging shows that have no connection to like comedy whatsoever. Like clearing your mind and realizing that the world is bigger. And I think that'll equate to building that self-confidence and knowing of yourself and your self-worth.
Yeah, definitely. And that's so true of kind of building your scope of the world, so that you have enough knowledge to like come back and show your perspective.
Yes.
Within comedy, or within writing, or within all of these different art forms.
There are people that like, and I'm sure you've seen people like this too, where it's like that they make it their life in terms of, how do I say it? Like they're going to like an improv class from like 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then after that, they're watching a stand-up special. Then after that, they're like, I don't know, like going to open mics in the evening. Like they're like doing, like they're just doing the most is like the way to put it. It's just like relax, like find the room to like enjoy your favorite movie, or watch the show you've been wanting to watch, or like go hang out with your friends that are not in the comedy like community, because you need a break. All of that informs of your brain. Just can't be at 110% that all the time. It needs to discover other things in order for it to process, the things that you want to create, or the comedy that you're taking in. Yeah.
I just saw my favorite author last night at like a Q&A, and he said, and I'm going to butcher it, but he said something along the lines of, there's kind of the phrase of like, every word that an author writes is like, it is written in their own blood.
Jesus.
And I know. And he said, well, it's like a phrase of just like saying that like every single word is precious to the author.
Right.
And he said, but that's bullshit. You do it because you love it. And I think that that's great also with the whole like making sure you're not too precious on any of your art in case it needs to change in any way. And I just thought that that's a great sentiment of, you do it because you love it, not because of one specific part of it.
Yeah. And that's like I think one of my worst fears is falling out of love with it. I mean, I love it so much, but my worst fear, I think that's one of my worst fears is failure. And I'm working on that. But I think the other fear is falling out of love with like performing and like writing and creating. And it's like, in order to, okay, how do you foster the love? It's just like, you gotta be willing to step away from it a little bit and like just do things that are not related to that. I've fallen victim, and I feel like I have tendencies now and then of just like falling victim to like, oh, I need to be creating something right now, or I need to be doing this, because and I blame that, a lot of that, on just like social media and just like comparison issues, or just like being in a community of folks that like every single day one person is like, they get this big thing or this like big opportunity.
Right.
But that's where I've also started to learn how to like refocus stuff and like see it from a different lens. It's just like, okay, that one person in the community, or like that you know, like got this big opportunity. How amazing is it that you are like in the same community, in the same boat as them? That means you're doing something right. And it's like, that gives me a lot of like relief, where it's like, yeah, it's like, this should be a sign that I'm just in the right place.
Yeah.
If something's going to happen, if something's going to like, something is going to hit like when it's ready. And so that connects back to like, okay, so then you might as well enjoy what you're doing and just like continue to build on that love of what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, ending on doing it for the love seems like a beautiful place to end it.
I agree, Ryan.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming and for chatting.
Of course.
It's been really great to like hear your perspective on everything.
Yeah, no, it was such a lovely time. Anytime to just chat about like the philosophy.
Yes.
The brain games of it all. And then also just, you know, the fun, silly time. The teehees and the ha-has. I'm always there for it. Thank you for having me, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. Nailed that.
Thank you. We're getting there.
Getting there.
Awesome.